Hello, reporter room investigators. I am live because we have a missing child and we need your help to find her. Let's start with a little overview of what's going on.
I'm joined today by Lieutenant Colonel Richard Mazzone, Troop G Commander Major Dennis Shager. We also have representation from law enforcement, including the FBI. On a picture-perfect fall day here in upstate New York, Charlotte Sena's family and friends gathered for a weekend of friendship and food and enjoying one of the last few days of good weather. They came here to just have an ordinary time. The kids could have a chance to be in nature, have a chance to be kids. And they came to this beautiful scenic state park, Moreau State Park, literally 15 minutes from where Charlotte and her two sisters were raised. They rode bikes around the loop road we see. They camped, they cooked out, and they're here to make memories, the kind that last a lifetime. But
So, what's going on? We have a missing girl. Her name is Charlotte Sena. She is 9 years old. Hi, Amelia. Welcome, Tara. She is 9 years old, and let's go through a little bit of the information that we have on her. And then we're going to be watching this press conference from the governor of New York. They have issued an Amber Alert. This child, they believe she's in danger. So let's go through what we know so far. Charlotte Sena is a missing 9-year-old child. We need your help to get the word out. Please consider sharing this video on your various social media, on Facebook, Reddit, wherever, Twitter, wherever you post. She is missing. She went missing while she was camping with her family in upstate New York in the Saratoga area. I'm going to show you where in just a second. She went for a bike ride and she wanted to do one more loop without her parents. They gave her permission. But when she didn't come back from that one loop that she was doing by herself, her parents, along with nearby campers, immediately started to search for Charlotte. Again, a 9-year-old fourth grader who went missing. So she did not return. They began to look for her. They found only her bicycle at 6:45 p.m. I'm going to tell you what she was wearing in just a second. 2 minutes after that, her mom called 911 and reported that she was missing. State police were on the scene by Saturday. This all happened on Saturday, yesterday, at 7 p.m. Since then, over 100 personnel and 75 members of police have all been searching for Charlotte Sena. So they have deployed drones, dogs, 2 boats, 6 underwater rescue teams, all to help find this little girl. And a massive search has been underway at the Moreau Lake State Park in upstate New York, just outside of the Saratoga area. So what was Charlotte wearing? Well, she was last seen around 6:15 p.m. on Saturday. She was reported missing at 7 p.m. Saturday. Police said she was wearing an orange tie-dye Pokemon shirt. I'm going to show you photos in just a second. Dark blue pants, black Crocs, and a gray bike helmet. She was last seen on Loop A at approximately 6:15 Saturday wearing what I just described. She is white, blonde hair, stands about 5 foot 1 inches tall, and she weighs around 90 pounds. This is the governor of New York weighing in. It really is scary. So let's listen in to this press conference because we need to find this girl.
instead, the day turned into every parent's nightmare. I just met with Charlotte's parents, David and Tricia, obviously distraught. And as a mother and as a grandmother, I cannot imagine the pain they're going through. They shared with me how joyful their little girl is. A fourth grader just recently elected to be a class officer for student council. And everybody thought of her as just a really nice girl, the kind that people wanted to be friends with, the kind that looked out for other children, the pride of every parent. So it's a very hard time for her family. I'll go through the circumstances of her disappearance, and we'll have representation from law enforcement talk about the search.
So again, let's go through what she was wearing, and then I'm going to show you guys some photos of her, some other photos that I was able to find, and also a map of this state park. So Charlotte, again, was last seen. She's only 9 years old at the Moreau State Park in upstate New York, outside of the Saratoga area. She was last seen on Saturday night around 6:15 p.m. She was last seen wearing an orange tie-dye Pokemon shirt, dark pants, black Crocs, and she was wearing a gray bike helmet. Her parents went looking for her after she didn't return for around 15 minutes, and other campers helped her parents look. They only found her bike. Once they found her bike, her mom, Trish, immediately called law enforcement, immediately dialed 911. So an Amber Alert has been issued. She's 5'1", blonde hair, weighs around 90 pounds. And they only issue an Amber Alert if they believe that this child is in some type of serious harm or imminent danger. They don't just issue this without cause. But let's continue on, because the governor of New York is deploying massive search effort, and we need your help also.
Charlotte was camping with her family here in Moreau State Park. Last evening, she went out on a bike ride. It wasn't dark. It was right around dinner time, and did a couple of loops with close friends she considers her cousins. And then she decided, after going around Troop A, she said she just wanted to go around one more time by herself. Be that big girl, do it by herself. Literally 15 minutes later, she hadn't come back yet.
Charlotte went missing last evening. She went missing around 6:45 p.m. Her bike was found. Charlotte was not found. So they believe that this may be an abduction of this little girl out of this campsite with her parents. So the governor of New York is weighing in. Let's listen in, and then we're going to get into some more information. I have 2 other packages prepared for you, but let's listen in, because she's got law enforcement here, and this is going to answer some of your questions.
And that's really when the nightmare begins. Her parents knew immediately something was up. They called her name. People started searching. People from other campgrounds joined. And 30 minutes later, at 6:47, Charlotte's mother, Tricia, called 911. The scene was chaotic. People leaving their food, leaving their tables, just everyone in search, calling the name Charlotte.
So this has been a massive search. Everybody is looking for this child, and it's very possible that she was already taken out of, because it's been 24 hours, out of the Saratoga area. This is why I went live early tonight. I just wanted to get the word out, because we all know that in these cases, the first 48 hours are really critical. 24 hours has passed almost. It's about 23 hours has passed. So we need to be on this. Please consider sharing this on your social media. The governor of New York is on this. Let's listen in to the governor.
By 7 p.m., the state police were on site. And for the last 18 plus hours, teams from the New York State Police, dogs, aviation, our bloodhounds are here. The sword operators, our special response teams are on site. New York State Park Police, forest rangers, underwater rescue teams, and drones. We brought in technology experts also to analyze other forms of communications in the park at that time. A command post has been established at the state park right behind us, and additional search teams were deployed this morning. Right now, there's over 100 personnel deployed, 75 law enforcement on the ground, the 2 drones, an airboat, search team, 6 underwater rescue teams, another boat that has sonar. We also have the Schenectady Fire Office here assisting with the search, given that Charlene is the niece of one of the members of the Schenectady Fire Department.
So we really do. Time is of the essence. It's almost been 24 hours. She was reported missing yesterday evening, right around 6:45, 7 p.m. She disappeared and was reported missing very quickly after her mom and dad and local campers could not find her. She was riding bikes with her family. She wanted to do one more loop by herself. Her parents said that's okay. She could. She did one more loop, never came back. And while they were looking for Charlotte, they found her bicycle. So we need all hands on deck, which is why I'm doing this live. I was planning to do a live on Brian Kohlberger tonight. I'm in my pajamas because I wasn't planning to go live till 6, and I was researching it. But when I saw this, I realized we have a very short window to get the word out on this 9-year-old missing 4th grader. So let's listen into the governor, and then I have more information and additional photos that I'm going to share with you.
We are leaving no stone, no branch, no table, no cabin unturned, untouched, unexamined in our search to find Charlotte. We'll keep the members of the public updated. I promised her parents we'll find her daughter. She's all of our daughters. Their family needs love. They need prayers. And if you know anything, if you've seen anything, you hear anything, please contact 911 to tell us what you know and what you may contribute to the search for this little girl.
I also have numbers scrolling across the bottom. There's crime tip at troopers.newyork.gov. And there's also phone numbers. You'll just see it scrolling by and by and by. Thank you so much for your caring support. We just need all hands on deck to find this little girl. She's a 9-year-old 4th grader. She's got blonde hair. She stands 5'1", and we need to find her. It's almost been 24 hours since she was first reported missing. Those of you guys know that she could have been moved out of the area, and law enforcement does suspect foul play, which is why they've issued an Amber Alert. They believe that she is in danger of imminent harm. Let's listen in to the governor of New York, who is asking for our help.
Hearts are broken here today in New York. Hopefully there'll be a reunion. Hopefully there'll be a family that has been traumatized but is reunited. That is our prayer and our hope at this time. With that, let me bring up Lieutenant Colonel Richard Mazzone to follow up on our continuing search for Charlotte.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon. I am Lieutenant Colonel Richard Mazzone, Assistant Deputy Superintendent of the New York State Police Uniform Force. Shortly before 7 p.m. last night, State Police responded to Moreau State Park in the town of Moreau for a report of a missing 9-year-old female identified as Charlotte E. Sena of Greenfield, New York. Charlotte was last seen at approximately 6:15 p.m. riding her bike in Loop A of the park. At approximately 6:45 p.m., Charlotte's bike was located in Loop A, and at 6:47 p.m., Charlotte's mom, Tricia, called 911 to report the child missing. A command center was subsequently established at the Moreau State Park office, and search teams were deployed, which consisted of New York State Police uniformed troopers, State Police Special Operations Response Team, New York State Park Police, Forest Rangers, and our unmanned aerial systems, underwater recovery team, aviation, and canine, as well as several civilian volunteers. The missing child alert was issued last night, and search efforts continued throughout the night. In addition to our massive search efforts, our Bureau of Criminal Investigation has been conducting interviews with those in the park and around the region, as well as pursuing all investigative leads.
So I suspect somebody may have been watching her, and Amelia's right, you guys. Thank you to our mods and our channel members and all of our subscribers. Everyone in that area needs to check their doorbell ring cameras, security cameras. If you took footage that day, check that. You guys know that the first 48 hours is critical. We're almost coming up on the 24-hour mark, which is why I ran to get live. I'm literally in my pajamas, but I I just wanted to go live because I just feel like time is of the essence and we need to find her. I'm going to show you guys a bunch of pictures of her in just a moment. Every picture I could find, I downloaded along with a map of the park. So we're going to go through all of that. But yeah, maybe they got the license plate, but this is the governor of New York and the New York State Police. They have put out an Amber Alert. They do believe that she is in danger and they are asking for our help. So let's listen in to law enforcement.
Additional search teams were deployed this morning, and an Amber Alert was issued at 9:35 a.m. this morning. I want to thank our state police members, our park police and forest rangers, and all of our law enforcement and community partners for the commitment and efforts to find Charlotte. We continue to dedicate all resources that we can to find Charlotte and bring her home safely. Charlotte E. Sena is a 9-year-old white female with long blonde hair, is approximately 5 foot 1 inch in height, and weighs about 90 pounds. She was last seen wearing an orange tie-dye Pokemon shirt, dark blue pants, black Crocs, and a gray bike helmet.
And I'm going to show you photos of Charlotte with that shirt and of a couple of other photos too that I was able to find in just a second. So please stay with me. But let's listen in to the New York State Police.
Members of the State Police Wilton BCI will be leading this investigation, and anyone with any information is asked to call the New York State Police at 518-477-9333 or call 911. Any updates will be posted to the State Police newsroom at nyspnews.com. Thank you. If there are any questions, I'll take them at this time.
So I went ahead and I have the phone numbers and there's an email. You can also just call 911 with any help. What the dog's not picking up anything, a white car speeding away. Yeah, they think she was abducted. It's been almost 24 hours since she was last seen. She was last seen at 6:15 a.m. in upstate New York in the Saratoga area at Moreau State Park. She was riding her bike. They found her bike, but not Charlotte. I'm going to show you pictures of her in just a second. I'm not sure what that means, remote view with this guy. I don't know. I hope so too, Leslie. Yeah, we need prayers. Please share this video. I'm going to share a whole bunch of images that I've been able to find with her. And they do believe that she was abducted. They do believe that something is wrong. So then that's why they've issued an Amber Alert. They only do that if they believe that this child is in imminent danger, and they do, and that's why they are sounding the alarm.
Just wondering what led to issue the Amber Alert. Seems to be language in the alert that references an abduction and perhaps
Well, following our exhaustive search of the park, we took that step of issuing the Amber Alert because we felt that after that exhaustive search, when we couldn't find her here, it was quite possible that an abduction had taken place.
Thanks, Tara.
Where exactly? It's a relatively large park.
Well, certainly we started at the area that she was last seen, and over the course of the last 18 hours, we've conducted an exhaustive search of the park. We've been checking the waterways. As I mentioned, we have our drones and aviation assets looking from above while our teams are on the ground. We had a bloodhound assigned to this area, several other canines. So I feel confident at this point. We've conducted a search of this park, and we're going to continue with that while we also search every other avenue.
And I'm going to show you a map of the park in just a second. It is a large park, but I do feel like with the bloodhounds, the fact that the parents called it in so quickly, I think if she was like nearby, they would have found her, which is why I think they're moving to the abduction theory. Let's listen in to the New York State Police. Again, we are looking for a 9-year-old blonde little girl. She's 5'1". She's in 4th grade. Last seen riding her bike at a campground called Moreau State Park. She was camping there with her parents and her sisters. They went all for a bike ride together. She wanted to do one more loop. She was disappeared on loop 1 at the Moreau State Park. She wanted to do one more loop and by herself, and her parents said it was okay. I can't even imagine. My heart goes out to Dave and Trish, who are her parents. The New York governor asking for all hands on deck. So we need you guys to help get the word out about this little girl. I'm going to show you a bunch of pictures in just a second. So please stay with me. But let's listen in to the New York State Police at this very important press conference.
Certainly that possibility exists, yes. Well, I really don't want to get into the cameras and the technological aspects of our investigation and our search at this time, but I can assure you, as the governor mentioned, that we are doing everything we can to reunite Charlotte with her family.
So this is why we need all hands on deck. Everybody that was staying in that campground, maybe you don't know about this because it is a big park. I'm going to show you in just a second. You could have just been at the park at that time. You may have caught something on your dashboard cam and not even realized what you caught. So you could maybe help check your doorbell cams, check your dash cams, and law enforcement is going through all of the pictures. There was reportedly a white car seen speeding away. We don't know if it's related or not, but law enforcement does have an Amber Alert. I am scrolling the contact information, but if you don't get that and you have a tip for law enforcement, they are giving you permission to call 911 on this. That's how urgent this is to find this little missing 9-year-old girl. We need your help.
All right, thanks everybody.
Okay, let me grab this.
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davies.
Hello, Reporter Room investigators. We need your help to find missing Charlotte Sena. She is a 9-year-old. Okay, so this is her picture. This is Charlotte. She went missing from her home. I'm sorry, from the campground. They have done law enforcement. She disappeared yesterday. She was last seen at 6:15 p.m. Let me just go through this. So she's a 9-year-old girl, went missing while camping with her family in upstate New York in the Saratoga area at a park called Moreau State Park. That's where they were camping. She was camping with her mom and dad, Trish and David, and her sisters. She wanted to take one more loop, one more pass on her bike. She had been biking with her family. Her parents said, sure, go ahead. She didn't come back 15 minutes later, and her parents and nearby campers immediately began looking for Charlotte. Her bike was found at 6:45 p.m. without Charlotte. So she was last seen wearing a gray bike helmet and an orange tie-dyed Pokemon shirt. I'm going to show you pictures of that in just a second. Dark blue pants, black Crocs, and a gray bike helmet. She was last seen on Loop A at the Moreau State Park. There is an Amber Alert out for this little girl. She's a 4th grader because they have not found her. It's been almost 24 hours, and they believe that she is in imminent danger. A white car was seen speeding away from the area. We need everybody to get the word out to check dash cams, to check doorbell cams. If you were in the park, look at any camera footage that you might have, either on a still camera or video camera. You might have caught something, and we need all hands on deck to get the word out about Charlotte. Let me show you some pictures because I have more. So this is one picture of little Charlotte Sena. She is only 9 years old. She is in 4th grade. Child. She was camping with her family in upstate New York in the Saratoga area. Now, Charlotte went for a bike ride, but never returned back to her campsite. When she didn't return, around 15 minutes. Okay, so let me just go through. Okay, so this is the Moreau Lake State Park. So this is why they've deployed water searchers, but they also have bloodhounds on this too. You can see it's quite a large park. So she was on Loop 1, and she just wanted to take one more little loop-de-loop by herself. You can see the loops here. Here's one loop here. Here's a loop. Here is a loop. Here is a loop. She was on Loop 1. She was just going to take one more pass by herself on the park. And you can see here, the loops are not that big. So this is the area where she went missing. So it would have been on this side. It would have been on the south side of the Moreau Lake State Park, where she was camping with her mom, Trish, her dad, David, and her siblings. And we need everybody to help get the word out on this missing little girl. Let me show you some more pictures of her right now. Please consider sharing this video. Please get the word out to help people check their dash cameras. You guys know the first 48 hours are critical. We're almost to the 24-hour mark. She was last seen at 6:15, which is why I went live early today. Sorry, I'm in my pajamas, but this takes priority over everything. We have a missing baby. Later, her parents and nearby campers began searching for Charlotte. Her bike was found on the loop at 6:45 p.m. and 2 minutes later, her mom called 911 and reported her disappearance. State police arrived around 15 minutes later at 7 p.m. Since then, over 175 personnel and law enforcement. And let me back that up so you guys can see her photo. Okay, that is Charlotte. And I'm going to show you what she was wearing in just a second. You can see she's blonde hair. In the summer, it's the end of the summer, so her hair's a little bit blonder. But they could have dyed her hair brown by now. We do think she was abducted. Let's continue on. At 7 p.m. Since then, over 175 personnel and law enforcement officials have been deployed to search for this fourth grader. Drones, dogs, 2 boats, and 6 underwater rescue teams also joined the search. And you could see with what the map that I showed you, why they need, you could see that these loops, there's loop A, and I believe this is the loop she was on right here, which is in the bottom right here. I believe that's the loop she was on right there. And you can see there's a big lake there, which is why they're having drones, boats, dogs, everything's being deployed to find this little girl. It's so easy to trick little kids. And, they use stuff like, can you help me find my puppy? And children want to be helpful. And from all accounts, this is a very sweet, smart little girl. Hi, Shraddha. So let me keep going because I just wanted to show you this photo of her one more time. I have more photos in just a second. I have a photo. I'm going to show you exactly what she was wearing, but this is what she looks like. Over 175 personnel and law enforcement officials have been deployed to search for this fourth grader. Drones, dogs, 2 boats, and 6 underwater rescue teams also joined the search. So she is believed to have been abducted from the Moreau Lake State Park in New York. Charlotte was last seen, as I said, around 6:15 p.m. on Saturday. Police said that she was last seen wearing an orange tie-dye Pokemon shirt, dark blue. Okay, so you can see there, that is the Pokemon shirt she was last seen in. Okay, it looks pink in the picture, but law enforcement is describing this. Let me just make sure I have this correctly. Law enforcement is describing this shirt as being orange tie-dyed Pokemon shirt. You can see the shirt there, so it could easily have a little bit of tangerine. It's coming across pink in this photo. Dark blue pants, black Crocs, and she was wearing a gray bike helmet because she was riding her bike. And her parents and the campers were looking for her. They found her bike, but not Charlotte. And this happened at 6:15. So we are coming up on the 24-hour mark. You guys know how important the first 48 hours are. Sorry. So we do need to find her. They have her weight here on this Amber Alert at 90 pounds, 9 years old, 5'1", little girl, blonde hair. And I'm going to show you some more photos of her too. I have one of her where her hair is darker. It was probably taken before the summer, where it just probably lightened up as she was in the pool and playing around. But we need all hands on deck to find her, and law enforcement is asking for people to check their dash cams, their doorbell cams, if you were at the park that day, or you know someone that was at the park that day, if you took any camera footage, any video footage, you may have the predator on your camera. Thanks, John. I know you're going to do the same thing. John is a friend of Reporter Room and always there to help with finding the kids. And I have, so you have, yeah, be very, very careful, you guys. They're asking not to report, not to approach yourself. If you see something, you can have permission from law enforcement to call 911. If you have a tip, I also have the phone number. It's scrolling down underneath you, and I'm going to read it out to you as well. 518-477-9333. That's 518-477-9333. And I'm going to share some more photos with you right now. Blue pants, black Crocs, and she was wearing a gray bicycle helmet. She was last seen on Loop A at around 6:15 p.m. on Saturday. She is described as being white with... Okay, so if you look at this photo, you can see that her hair is darker in this picture. It was probably taken at the at the end of the school year. That looks like her school class photo. Her hair is now blondish because she's probably been out swimming and playing in the sun, and it probably lightened back up. But they may have dyed her hair brown. So this is what she looks like with brown hair. I have some more photos coming in just a second. Blonde hair, 5'1", and weighing approximately 90 pounds. So she went missing, and the circumstances around Charlotte's disappearance are leading law enforcement to believe that she is in imminent danger of serious harm. This is according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So police received that phone call at 6:45 p.m. from her mom and dad. Her bike was found shortly thereafter. She has been... Okay, let me pause it there. Okay, so this is the Pokemon shirt. She was last seen though not in blue jeans, but in black pants. Let me just read it out, make sure I'm reading it correctly, because the description is really important. They may have dyed her hair brown, but I have a picture of her with darker hair that I'm going to share with you that was probably taken at the end of the school year before the summer started. So I'll share that in just a second. But she was last seen wearing this orange tie-dyed Pokemon shirt. You can see it in the picture. Dark blue pants, black Crocs, and a gray bike helmet. She is white with blonde hair. She stands 5'1", and she weighs around 90 pounds. She's a 9-year-old fourth grader, and law enforcement is absolutely looking for her. You guys know in 10 minutes we're coming up on the 24-hour mark, and we need to find this little girl. We need all hands on deck to find her safely. You guys know the first 48 hours is the most critical time to find a missing child. So described as highly intelligent, adventurous, and that going missing is completely out of character for her. And this is according to the state police in New York. So what they're saying, New York State Police, let me show you. This is her with darker hair, because they could have dyed her hair darker by now. They've had her for 24 hours. We do believe this was probably an abduction. Leslie's going to share. Yeah, please share this. I have a bunch of photos on here. I have maps. If you want to share this, you can on your social media. Feel free. John, do you want to come up? You're welcome to come up and join me. If you do, let me know. I'll drop you a link. So this is a picture of her with the darker hair. She may have darker hair by now, and I'm going to share with you more blonde in just a second. Police have activated an Amber Alert in the case, and this went into effect on Sunday morning around 9:30 a.m. New York time, noting that it was for, quote, a child abduction that occurred around 6:45 p.m. the night before. Okay, so this is the Pokemon shirt that she was wearing. You can see it looks kind of pink in the pictures, but they are describing it as an orange Pokemon shirt, blue pants, black Crocs, blonde hair, 5'1", but she may have darker hair. And I showed you guys the darker hair. Let me just show that one more time. They may have dyed her hair darker. This is what she looked like before the summer lightened her hair up. So, but they, and I do believe that law enforcement thinks she's been abducted. There was a white car seen speeding away. It may or may not be related. This is what she looks like now with after the summer, after she's been swimming in the pool out in the sun. Thank you so much, Geneva. Yeah, please consider sharing this. Oh, that's okay, John. I just wanted to offer you, if you wanted to pop up, you're welcome to. But let's continue on together, guys, because I have another package after this one I want to share with you, because we need to get as much information as we can out about finding Charlotte. She is only 9 years old. Her parents, Trish and David, are frantic, just as upset and awful as all of you guys feel. Just imagine how her mom and dad feel. They let her do one loop by herself on her bike, and when she didn't return, they immediately started looking for her. She was last seen at 6:15 yesterday, Saturday, at the time of recording this, at the Moreau State Park in upstate New York in the Saratoga area for, quote, a child abduction that occurred around 6:45 p.m. the night before. An
Thank you
Amber
so much,
Alert, which
Marie.
stands for America's Missing. This is a broadcast emergency response, and it is issued only when a child is missing or abducted and the police are concerned for the life, health, or well-being of that child because they believe her to be in imminent danger. So they would not be sharing this with all of us via an Amber Alert if they did not think that Charlotte was in some type of danger. The fact that they're putting this out there, that's why I was doing a different live. I was planning to go live, but I wasn't planning to go live till 6. As soon as I saw this, I jumped on because we all know that the first 48 hours are so important. So this is Charlotte. Her to be
I have
in
some more photos
imminent
of her.
danger. Lieutenant Colonel Richard Mazzone told reporters on Sunday that law enforcement determined it was, quote, quite possible that Charlotte had been abducted following their exhaustive search of this park. And they said, quote, we just want her returned safely like any parent would. No tip is too small. Please call if you know anything at all. The New York governor also told reporters that Charlotte and her family were camping only 15 minutes from where the girl and her sisters grew up. Okay, so this is what she was wearing. So here's a full-length picture of Charlotte. Blonde hair, 5'1", around 90 pounds. Last seen, the shirt reads pink in the photo, but it's being reported that it was an orange tie-dyed shirt. To me, it looks kind of like maybe it's like a tangerine orangish color, but somebody could also see a pink shirt, but this is what she was wearing. Blue pants, black Crocs, and she was wearing a gray bike helmet. They may have already changed her hair color. So, and it does sound like law enforcement believes that this is an abduction. Shortly before she went missing, she had been biking on Loop A around the park, and she wanted to do one more loop by herself. But 15 minutes later, when she didn't return back, okay, so here she is with her lighter hair in the pink shirt. You can see she's got lighter hair. It's the end of the summer. She's been swimming in the pool. But if you look at the picture right next to it, you can see the darker hair. Now, whoever grabbed her, and they do believe that this probably was an abduction. That's why they've issued the Amber Alert. Time is of the essence on finding her. They could have dyed her hair dark brown. This is what she looks like with darker hair. So I'm really glad we have both of these pictures. I shared with you earlier, her parents and nearby campers immediately began searching for her. They were calling her name. So her bike was found at the loop. So far, drones have been used, divers have been used, search dogs have been deployed, and a helicopter was spotted over the park early Sunday afternoon. Charlotte Sena's mom, her name is Trisha, has reached out and said she is, quote, a good kid who is, quote, trusting. And she says, I just want my daughter back. And she said this in anguish. So anyone with information, please call state troopers at 518-457-6811, or you can send an email to crimetip@troopers.newyork.gov. We'll continue to update you. Okay. I have another package for you guys because we're going to go through everything I can find on this. All right. So can you guys see this okay? All right. So this is every parent's worst nightmare. Here's the Amber Alert. I'm going to just take down some of the pop-ups. Okay, so the Amber Alert for a child abduction. They believe this was an abduction that occurred near the Moreau State Park in Gainsborough, New York at about 6:45 p.m. yesterday. Anyone with information should call the New York State Police at 518-457-6811, or you can dial 911. They are okay for you guys to do that. So the governor of New York offered up a bunch of information about her. And the fact that the governor is coming on with this tells you that they're really worried too. So Charlotte and her family were camping in a camping area called Loop A. And I just showed it to you a minute ago, and I'm going to show it to you again in a second. And Charlotte had been riding her bike with her mom, Trisha, and her dad, David, and her sisters. She wanted to do one more loop on this little loop. I'm going to show you the loop in a second. And if you look at the map, it's a paved road that passes through a heavily wooded area. So was someone lying in wait for Charlotte? Had they been watching her at the campground, saw an opportunity, and pounced? They have been looking for her, employing dogs, drones, boats, but fears are growing that Charlotte has been abducted, because Lieutenant Colonel Richard Mazzone, in the press release I just played for you, the press conference, he said after an exhaustive search, they could not find Charlotte. So he said, quote, "It's quite possible that an abduction has taken place. So we need all hands on deck to find her." That's why we're doing this live. I was doing a Brian Kohlberger live. I changed it because this takes priority, because the first 48 hours are so critical to finding children. So they brought in tech experts. So they're going through all their cameras. We need everybody who was in the park or around the park or near the park yesterday to go through their camera footage and see if they may have caught something on camera and not even know what it is. A white car was seen speeding away. Law enforcement doesn't know if it was related or not, but they are going through camera footage. They said, quote, "I really don't want to get into the camera and technology aspects of our investigation. I bet you they're doing cell phone dumps, but they are trying to find this little Charlotte." So here's a little bit more about Charlotte. She was just 9 years old. She just turned 9. So just out of 3rd grade, just beginning 4th grade. She was just elected. I'm sorry. She was just elected to student council. And the governor said the state police will spare no effort to find her. And we need your help to find her. Also, let me grab this because I have
becomes available.
and get that map so I can show you the loop where she was. Let me just show you Charlotte. This is Charlotte. This is the
45 p.m.
tie-dye
the night
shirt
before.
that she was in, but let me back up to the loop. That's her with darker hair at the end of 3rd grade, before she was out in the summer sun playing and enjoying the sun. The sun lightened her hair over the summer. So this is what she looks like. They may have dyed her hair brown by now. This is what she was wearing. She was wearing, they're describing it as an orange Pokemon shirt. To me, it reads a little bit pink, and blue pants. You can see that it looks like jeans in the photo. Black Crocs. She was last seen wearing a gray bicycle helmet. They found Charlotte's bike. But not Charlotte. Let's look at the loop that she was on, and I'm going to show you where she was. This is her with brown hair. They could have changed her hair to brown by now. Let's look at this map. Okay. So if you're looking at the map, you're going to see the Moreau Lake, and that's why they have boats out looking for her. If you look at the very first loop, you can see Loop A. Can you guys see that on the map? You can see Loop A. Let me see if I can back it up a little bit more. You can see Loop A. It's the very first loop. It's the loop closest to me. You'll see a little sign that says recycle contact station. Just below that's a loop. She was last seen on Loop A. She had been biking with her mom, Trish, her dad, David, and her sisters. She was taking a loop, one last little, she just wanted to do one loop by herself. It's being reported by law enforcement that this was a very heavily wooded area. So was someone lying in wait for Charlotte? Had somebody been watching her? You guys may have picked up something. Someone picked up possibly something on their dash cam, video cam, doorbell cam in that area of the Moreau Lake. It's called Moreau State Park. It's in the upstate New York area, in the Saratoga area. So this is where she was. She was camping with her mom, Trish, her dad, David, and her two siblings. And you can see the loop is not big. It just has a few campsites there on either side, but it is reported to be heavily wooded. Let me just show you kind of what it looks like. And of course, it is, you can see all the trees, how easy it would be for someone to be hiding, lying in wait. Had they been watching her from when her parents arrived at this campground? Had they been watching her and looking for a chance and then pounced? And she has sisters that she was biking with. So her mom and dad are frantic. As soon as she didn't, within 15 minutes, when she had not returned from riding that loop, let's look at the loop again. From riding that loop in, and let me put the picture of Charlotte up. Within 15 minutes, they were out looking for her. They asked other campground people to help look for her. So everybody immediately went out. When they found her bike and she was not on it, and we just passed the 24-hour mark of when she was last seen. She was last seen at 6:15 yesterday, Saturday night. She was last seen on her bike going for one last bike ride around this little loop. I'm just going to show you this loop where she was at. So if you look at the map, you can see there's loop A is the very first one. It's the loop closest to me. Toward the bottom of the screen, you'll see like a little circle with other little circles all around it. It almost looks like a little amoeba with legs. That is loop A, the very first one. And that's where she was camping with her mom and dad. She just wanted to do one lap on her bike alone on this loop. Believed to have been abducted from the Moreau State Park in New York. Charlotte was last seen, as I said, around 6:15 p.m. on Saturday. Police said that she was last seen wearing an orange tie-dye Pokemon shirt. Okay, so this is the shirt she was last seen in. You can see her hair is lighter, but they could have darkened it by now. Law enforcement needs all hands on deck. They do believe that this was an abduction for Charlotte Sena. She is just barely, she turned 9 years old a month ago. She is the president of her student council. She is blonde haired, 5'1". She weighs 90 pounds. She was wearing, they're describing it as an orange Pokemon shirt. I think it reads kind of a pinkish color. So, but a Pokemon shirt, blue pants. To me, it looked like blue jeans in the photo. I'm going to show you another photo in just a second. Black Crocs. She had on a gray bike helmet. And let me just show you pictures of her with brown hair. That's what she looks like now. Okay, you can see that from swimming all summer, her hair is definitely lightened up. This is the park where she went missing. They have drones in the air, sniffer dogs out. You can see how densely wooded the area is. So it's very possible that when she went on that loop, that somebody was lying in wait for Charlotte, waiting for her to come by. That's what she looks like. And let me show you her with brown hair. Okay, this side-by-side picture, you can see the picture with her in the pink shirt. That's what she looks like now, but they could have darkened her hair. This other photo is her, I believe, at the end of 3rd grade. It was her school picture. And you can see that without the summer sun, her hair is a little bit darker. They could have dyed her hair darker. Oh, yeah, please. Yeah, if you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, you can give it a thumbs up. But we need to really, we just need to get the word out. I really actually don't even like care about that today. I just feel like I want to get the word out about this little girl because we the first 48 hours are critical, and we have just passed the 24-hour mark, and we need to find her. Let me zoom in so you guys can see her face. You could see, here's another shot of the woods. You could just see how densely wooded it is on that loop, how easy it would be for someone to have just been in the bushes waiting for her. Thank you so much, Sonia. Thank you so much for sharing share this and let me, you could see the numbers to call. They're giving permission to call 911. That's how, this is what she looked like. Okay, so this is a photo of Charlotte full length. You can see that they're describing it as an orange tie-dyed Pokemon shirt. I think it reads kind of a pinkish color. Also, she's described as wearing blue slacks. It could also be read as blue jeans, wearing black Crocs and a gray bike helmet. They found her bicycle, but not Charlotte. So we need to find her. Yes. Please. Yeah. Prayers help. Prayers help. Yeah. I think you're right, Leslie. I mean, I think that the fact that her parents were so on it as soon as she went missing, within 15 minutes when she didn't come back, they got other camp people to start other campground goers, holiday makers, to help look for her. And Jan says she camped there every year as a child. Wow. Somebody may have something on their dash cam footage that they don't even know. We know from the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie case that they did have dash cam footage of that white van, and that's how they found Gabby, was from that dash cam footage. But we need people to check it right away. We need people to check it right away because we know that the first 48 hours are really, really critical. And we've just passed the 24-hour. Thank you so much for sharing it on Facebook. I really appreciate it. Yes, prayers help. Sharing helps. Getting the word out helps. I have multiple pictures that I found every picture I could find of this little baby. I put them up. Canada's just 2 hours away. Yeah, they could have crossed over into Canada if you happen to be. I don't know how hard it would be to get her across the border. But Montreal is like 4 or 5 hours away from the Saratoga area. There could be cabins nearby. There's, this is a campground. She could be lost in the woods, but the thing is they found her bike. So what made her get off her bike? She was just going to do one more loop on her bike. So why would she get off her bike in this darkly wooded area? You could just see how dark it is and how wooded it is. Let me see. This is what she looks like with brown hair. This is at the end, I believe, of her 3rd grade, before she was out in the sun all summer long. You can see that they could have dyed her hair brown, which is why I want to show this photo of her too. This is not what she looked like when she went missing. She looked like this with the blonde hair, been lightened after being out in the sun and swimming in the pools and all that. Near Vermont, and the dogs haven't picked up anything. They have sent dogs out there. So upstate New York is near lower Vermont. It's right there next to the Berkshire area of Massachusetts. The western Massachusetts is right there. So she could be somewhere in that area, or they could have gone across the border with her, or they could have headed south with her. But this is what she looks like now. But she could, if they decided to take her hair darker, this is what she looks like with brown hair. So she could look like this. So let me show you the campground. Here's the 2 pictures. Her name is Charlotte Sena. She just started 4th grade. She just got elected to student council. She turned 9 a month ago. They are giving the phone number of 518-457-6891. You also have permission to call 911 as per the governor of New York. And yeah, this is a really common tactic, is to say, and kids love to help. Kids love to help. Can you help me find my puppy? There's an easy one that kids do. An extensive ground search of the area before nightfall was done, And again, this morning they have drones in the air, but you can see how wooded this is. Look at this. Though, I mean, the woods are thick. So she wanted to do one more loop on at the campground. She was at the Moreau State Campground. Let me show you the map of where she was. Okay. So this is the map. She was of the Moreau Lake. Okay. The loop, which are you'll see loops at the bottom. It looks kind of like an amoeba with like little suckers on the feet. Those are just the loops. The loop A is the very first loop. It's the loop closest to me. It's at the bottom of the screen. So let me see if I can get that right there. That's where she was riding her bike. So they found Charlotte's bike. Her parents immediately, when she didn't come back after 15 minutes, started calling for her. They got other campground people who were staying there, holiday makers, involved in looking for her. And as when they found the bike without her on it and no bike helmet, they immediately called 911. And so she was reported missing very, very fast. Law enforcement has been all over this. Moreau is, yeah. So this is why you guys can help, Rick. We can help get the word out, because I know there are lots of people in this, and you know, the more hands on deck, the better chance we have of finding this little girl. Yeah, I'm wondering too, and the reason I agree with you, Leslie, that maybe the dogs aren't picking up her scent is that they saw a white car speeded away. Now, maybe it was related, maybe it wasn't. Prayers help. Getting the word out on social media helps. You're welcome to share this. I have multiple pictures on here. I have pictures of the park, of the map of where Loop A is, so they can see. I'll put an arrow on this map for tomorrow if if hasn't been found. I'm hoping that we find her before then. We just passed the 24-hour mark of when she went missing, and it's just now hitting the national news that she's been gone missing for this. Let me grab one more thing for you guys. She's 8 years. She's just turned 9, and she went missing right out of the park. So let me pull this up for you guys. And let me share this with you. Okay. I'm just going to share everything I can find, because every little bit helps. Let me pull this up. And forgive me for being in my pajamas, but I was not planning to go live this early. Okay, so this is Charlotte. She's 9 years old. Charlotte Sena. So they have 100 people looking for her. That's not enough. We need more hands on deck to look for her. Because that's not enough. It's a dense park, but she could have been taken out of the park by now. The governor of New York is on. Here's another image. I don't have this one, so this is a new image of her. She was last seen wearing a pink, but an orange, but it kind of reads a little bit pink, Pokemon shirt, blue pants. To me, they look a little bit like jeans, and black Crocs. Her bike was found. She was wearing her gray bike helmet, because her helmet was not found with her. She weighs around 90 pounds. She's 5'1". She just started 4th grade, and she just turned 9 a couple of weeks ago. So that's a new image of her. So they've been searching for her. The article says 18 hours, but it's actually been longer. They've been using underwater rescue teams, aviation rescue teams, bloodhounds, and they have technology experts, which means they are dumping those phones. They are dumping those phones to try to find her. So Charlotte is the niece of a member of the Schenectady Fire Department. That is located in the upstate New York area as well. So she could have been taken across the border there to Vermont, or she could have been taken across to Western Massachusetts. It's also very close to the Canadian border. She could have been taken across the border, or they could have gone south. She was recently elected to be a class officer. I think I said president. Let me correct myself. A class officer for her student council. This is according to the governor of New York. And she said, quote, "Our hearts are broken today in New York. Hopefully there will be a reunion. Hopefully there will be a family that has been traumatized but reunited. This is our prayer and our hope." So the park is closed. This is according to Facebook. They have to close the park down in an effort to find her. And this is Saratoga. So that's going to be in the northeastern part of upstate New York. So it's be upstate New York. And it's going to be about 45 miles north of Albany, New York. That's the capital of New York. And this is where, so she could be there. In New York. So this, you can see how densely wooded this park is. Look at that. So that is the loop she was on. She was just, there's like a loop, and the campgrounds, little camping sites are on either side of the road on this little loop that goes around in a circle. Okay, I'll show you the map again in a second. So she was on this little loop that just wound around. She wanted to do one little pass on this loop. She was staying there with her mom, Trisha, her dad, David, her two sisters. They said she could do one loop by herself. When she didn't come back, she disappeared at 6:15. That's when she was last seen. They immediately were out calling her name, looking for her. Other campers joined in searching for her. When they found her bike without her, they immediately called 911. Somebody has seen something. Somebody has, maybe this person on dash cam footage or on a doorbell cam in the area, or if you have a camera on your camper, somebody has seen something. Somebody knows, but you can see how densely wooded this is. So somebody, it sounds like, because they found her without the helmet. She was still wearing the helmet, and it seems like maybe somebody lured her off of her bike. Maybe they asked her to help find a lost puppy, or maybe just grabbed her. It is a densely wooded area. You can see there's a lot of places that somebody could hide in that area. This is what she was last seen wearing: blonde hair. They say orange Pokemon shirt. I think it reads a little bit pink. Blue pants. I think it reads like jeans. Black Crocs. And that bike helmet was not found. It was last seen with her wearing it. So a gray bike helmet. It was not found. Her bike was found, but not her. We don't know, May. That's a great question. Was the bike damaged? We don't know. We don't know. You got to figure that law enforcement is holding a couple of things close to their chest. So Amelia's right. If you live in the surrounding areas or know someone in the surrounding areas, just consider sharing this video on. I have multiple pictures of her up. I've shared every photo I can find of her, a map of the park, of the surrounding area. Somebody has seen something. Somebody knows what happened. So Rick is right. Orange tie-dye Pokemon shirt, blue slacks, black Crocs, blonde hair, 5'1", around 90 pounds. Let me show you guys what she looks like. And Heavenly Cloud says the information on the website does not say anything about dangerous animals at the park. Upstate New York, I don't know. There could be bears. That would be like the only thing I could think of, but that would be like dangerous in that area would be bears. Black bears in that area don't tend to be that aggressive unless there's a baby bear involved, or maybe I guess I don't want to go there. Heavenly Clutch, the satellite images should help give information about who took her. Yeah, and they have brought in a technology expert, and they are dumping, I'm sure, all the video cameras from that park, and I'm sure they're dumping any kind of satellite imagery. But you guys may have something, or you may know someone that has something on your dash cam footage that can help find Charlotte. Thanks, Rick. Yeah, share it on your Facebook. Let's just get the word out. Farah says, I would imagine that the law would have every single gas station surrounding 100 miles in every direction if they something. Yeah, and this is why people with your dash cam footage can really help find Charlotte, because somebody may have picked up something and not even realize how important it is. Tara says, I wonder if they're using heat seeking since it was so heavily wooded. Well, we know they've cleared out the park. So I would suspect that you're right, Tara. They have drones in the air. If it's a bear, yeah, I'm like, really, I think the black bears in that area tend to be shy. They don't tend to be that aggressive. That doesn't mean that they couldn't be. It's just they don't tend to be that aggressive in that part of the United States. But yeah, bears would leave evidence. I mean, I would think you might have some claw marks on the bike or something like that. Heavenly Custom's mama would be dangerous to protect a baby. Yeah, that's the only reason I could think that a bear would do this. I think law enforcement believes it is an abduction, which is why the governor of New York, they've called out the state police. This is not being handled locally. They are giving you permission to call 911 if you have any tips as to what happened to this little 9-year-old. She just turned 9 1 month ago. She is in 4th grade. I'm sure there are black bears. People are more scary than black bears. I think so too. I, it's very, very unusual in that part of the United States for black bears. Now, there are parts of the world where black bears are more aggressive. They're almost like a brown bear, like a grizzly bear. But black bears in the northeastern part of the United States, I mean, you do want to be careful if you're out berry picking or something like that. But she was in a campground filled with campers on her bike, and she disappeared wearing her bike helmet. So I think somebody may have gotten her also. I think she would be a target. Yes, there are scent dogs out looking for her. May, great question. Yeah, prayers, if help get the word out. Prayers help everything that we can do to find her. Camper or local grabbed her. So this could have been, I agree, Sabrina, this could have been somebody that was in the woods. Let me just show you how wooded it really, really is. You can see the woods behind her, but let me get a better shot of it. Okay. This is how wooded it is. This is a photograph. So she was just on that loop that I showed you a few minutes ago. I'll show it to you again in the campground in the Lake Moreau area, which is in the Saratoga area of upstate New York, 45 minutes away from Albany. Not just a few hours, probably I would say less than 4 hours from the Canadian border. They could have gone into Western Massachusetts. They've had her for a day. They could have gone into Vermont. They could have gone into any part of Massachusetts at this point, could have gone into Canada, or they could have headed south or even west with her. But somebody knows where she is, and the 48 hours are critical. We are in the second half of the 48 hours. Farah says, I've never experienced an aggressive bear. I've come close to 3 in the Northern California. The brown bear grizzly are very dangerous. Right. The brown bears grizzly are not just, they don't discriminate at all. Black bears, you do want to be careful. Like if you're out berry picking or something like that, and they have a baby with them, or maybe if they're starving, but it's just so unlikely in that part of the United States. But it's not impossible. It's just unlikely. And I hope they've searched the campers. Well, I know they've emptied out the campground. Sherry, I don't know if they can just like indiscriminately search people, but what people can do is if you were camping in that area or if you were just at the park, let me just show you guys the map real quick. Yeah, they have drones, Sonia. They have emptied out the park, but let me just show you. So this is her with brown hair. This was probably taken at the end of 3rd grade. And now with the summer and all the fun in the sun, she now has blondish hair, but they may have dyed her hair. This is what she looks like now. Let me just show you this map. Okay, so you are looking at the map of the campground and you can see Moreau Lake is in the middle. And if you look down below on this side of me, you can see the very first, you'll see what looks like a little amoeba with little tentacles. Those little circles outside the little sticks of what looks like an amoeba, that's loop A, is the one closest to me. It's just down on the bottom by the contact station. And so between the contact station and the group camping area. So they have drones in the air. They're dumping it. I'm sure they're dumping cell phone towers. I'm sure they're dumping camera footage, but the governor of New York has gotten involved. So you know that people they do believe this is an abduction. We don't know if they picked up anything, but they are asking for your help to please go through your CCTV footage, go through your dam cache footage, go through any photograph, still or video that you may have taken at the park that day. They need all hands on deck to try to find this little girl. So she was last seen in Loop A. She had just come back from biking with her mom, Trisha, her dad, David, and her sisters. She had been biking with them. She came back from biking with them. And sorry. She came back from biking. She came back from biking with them. I just wanted to make one more pass, just one more pass on that loop. And her parents said, okay, because she's a big 9-year-old girl now. So she went by herself on this little loop. When she didn't come back 15 minutes later, Trisha, her mom, David, her dad, immediately began calling for her, looking for her. They enlisted other campers who all went out looking for her. When they found her bicycle without her on it and without her bike helmet, they immediately contacted law enforcement. They called 911. Yeah, they emptied out the park. And I suspect somebody, I can't remember who said it, that they would have emptied out the park because they may be using heat seeking devices. If this guy is still in the park with her, maybe says, I didn't know that cars could go on the same path as a bicycle. Well, if you look at this, let me show you the picture. That's her. Okay, that's Charlotte, 9 years old, 5'1". She's got blondish hair, weighs around 90 pounds. This is what she was wearing. This black Crocs, blue jean pants, tie-dyed Pokemon shirt. They may have dyed her hair brown. This is a picture of her, I believe, at the end of 3rd grade. She just began 4th grade. You can see her hair is darker before the summer started. If you know anything, they are taking tips at 518-457-6811. You can also, you have permission from the governor of New York to call 911 if you have any tips that can be called in. This is the loop. Okay, so this is, you can see how densely wooded this campground is. So she wanted to do one more pass on that loop. There are campsites on either side, but maybe someone was hiding, lying in wait for her. It could have been somebody that was camping in the area, or maybe just somebody that went to the park and was looking for an opportunity, just looking for an opportunity and got one, got a little window of opportunity. And Rick is telling us that there's going to be a prayer vigil tonight for Charlotte Sena at 7 p.m. at the Corinth Beach in Corinth, New York. So that's, if you can't do that, consider praying at home at 7 p.m. I do believe prayers work. So the bike, I don't know exactly where her bike was found. I just know that the parents were calling for her. Other campers helped. They enlisted help to find her, and they did find the bike. So I don't know if the bike was on the main road or if it was in the brush just off the main road. But her helmet was not with the bicycle. So it doesn't look like she got off her bike, took off her bike helmet. So either A, someone grabbed her off the bicycle, B, she was lured off the bike People have brought up bears in the area. It's possible. It is possible. Terry says, God bless her family. Yes. Thank you. I do believe prayers work, but somebody may have something on dash cam footage that may help her. It's really scary, maybe. It really is. Yeah, it could be a relative or a friend of a camper. It could have been somebody that was camping. It could be a local person that just went to that park in hopes of an opportunity, or it could have been somebody, and we learned this with remember the abduction that happened in Australia with that little girl, that little tiny little 2-year-old, and they found her by dumping phones. It was somebody that saw her on social media and became fixated on her and got her. It was just it was somebody not in their immediate circle of the parents, but in their outside circle. I wish I could remember her name. Yeah, I'm sure the campers, and they've emptied out the campground now. Marcia said, I'm sure all the campers were searched before leaving. I hope so. I would think, I don't know if they would have had, probable cause, but I would think if you wanted to cooperate, you would offer to let your camper, tent, whatever, be searched. But they emptied out that park really fast, and they are probably doing heat-seeking searches for this little girl. Let me pull her up on the screen for you guys. This is what she looks like right now with her blondish hair. But you could see at the end of 3rd grade, her hair was very dark. Whoever grabbed her may have dyed her hair back brown. This is what she was wearing when she went missing. I have a better shot of it. Let me grab that. This. Okay. This is what she looked like. You can see she's at the campground. This is, was taken at this campground. So you can see maybe earlier yesterday before she disappeared, she's wearing this Pokemon shirt. I think that's like Pikachu and Pokemon on there. Tie-dyed shirt, blonde hair, blue slacks. They kind of look like, they read to me like jeans in the photo, but it's hard to tell with the little campfire that they have going on. Black Crocs, and she had a gray bike helmet. So her bike was found, but the helmet was not found with the bicycle. So if to me, the last location of the bike would narrow down the area. Yeah, I think that did help. And the fact that her parents reported her missing so quickly. Now, we've had really good outcomes when everybody's gotten on board and looked to find. Remember the baby in Australia? They had a really positive outcome. They could find her, which is why I just went live tonight. For those of you that are looking for the Brian Kohlberger live stream, this took priority because we know that the first 48 hours are critical. And when the governor of New York asked for help, of course, we're going to all help. This is why I keep my eyes on my little sister wherever we go. Yeah, it only takes a second. We know that it only takes a minute. Yeah, he was the one, and they're talking about the case of the missing girl in Australia. Let me grab that really quick. Let me pull that up. And see if I can find out. See, her name was Cleo Smith. And they were able to find her, and it was somebody. Let me grab this for you. It was somebody. I'm going to come back to this in just a second, but let me just grab this. So how they found her was they got all hands on deck. They immediately this is Cleo. It took them a couple of days, but they did find her. She disappeared also from inside her family's tent at the campground. So she was inside the tent. They did a massive search operation, and they found the abductor. It was Terrence Darrell Kelly. He apparently became fixated on her through social media, and how they found him was they did phone dumps, and that's how they found Cleo, and they found her safe and unharmed. So I do feel like, we have a good chance to find highly intelligent, this little baby girl. She's just turned 9 years old last month. Cleo was found alive. She was found safe and sound. And Australian police, just like these New York police, were just on it. The parents immediately reported Cleo missing, just like these parents, Trish and David. Now, Cleo went missing from inside her own tent. So it was definitely, this guy had apparently become fixated on her on social media. We've talked about stalking on this before. And Tara, you're right. A helmet that's missing is not a good sign. Thank you to our mods, by the way, and our channel members, and also to our subscribers. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you who are helping to get this word out on her. Cleo was safe and sound. She was safe and sound when they found her. So we could have a good outcome for Charlotte also, if we're just all on it. I think they cleared. So law enforcement, if you're just joining me, this is Charlotte Sena, Sena. She is a 4th grader. She just turned 9 last month. Blonde hair, 5'1", weighs around 90 pounds, wearing exactly what I'm showing you right now, a pink, orangish, tie-dyed Pokemon shirt with blue slacks. I think they look like jeans, black Crocs. She could have had her hair dyed. This is her at the end of 3rd grade, I believe. You can see her hair is darker in this photograph. They could have dyed her hair, whoever got her by now. Law enforcement does believe that it's an abduction. I'm scrolling the phone number for people to call, but law enforcement is asking for all hands on deck. She has been missing now for just over 24 hours. The first 48 hours is critical. And we do need to find her. Was this somebody who became fixated on with her on social media? Was this someone that was at the park and just an opportunistic? Or was this someone that was stalking, following this family? Cleo, the little girl Cleo from Australia, it was somebody that got fixated on her on social media and then followed the family, stalked the family, and grabbed her from inside the tent when they were camping. I agree, avocado toast. Don't put your kids on social media. In our family, that's a rule that we have. We don't post pictures of our children on social media. So I just, that's a great rule. Let's hope this is the case with Charlotte and Sean's alone. Well, I want to thank all of you guys for helping to get the word out about Charlotte, because I think her last name is Sena, Cena. All we know about vehicles is that there have been reports that a white car, but I don't know the make or the model yet, but I'm sure law enforcement, they have a technology expert, are dumping camera footage. They may have a make and model for us very soon. So law enforcement said that they are looking for her. This is her with darker hair. This is what she looked like when she went missing. Her last name is Sena, Sena. First name is Charlotte. Thank you so much, Take Time. Thank you to everybody who's helping to get the word out for this missing little girl. I know together we can help have a positive outcome. Time is of the essence. So they've emptied out the campground. And let me just go back for those of you that are just joining us. I want to show you. If a bear got her and dragged her off, you would think the campers nearby would have heard her. Yes, I agree. I think that it would have, she would have made some noises. But if she was lured off the bike, if the helmet was found, she struggled, and the helmet was not found, at least not that we've been told yet. Thank you so much to you. This is our head mod. This is Six Sense Amelia. Thank you to all our mods today for jumping in there and helping. He could have headed up to Albany. You're right, Jan. He could be headed to Albany. Could be in Western Massachusetts. Could have headed across the border to Canada. Sena is how you say her name. That's her last name. Her first name is Charlotte. And let me just show you a map of the campground. So that is what she was wearing. What the picture I'm showing you right now is her at the campground. That is what she was wearing. Her family was on holiday, enjoying themselves. She was camping with her mom, Trisha, her dad, David, and her sisters. They had just come back from a family bike ride. She wanted to take one more pass on her bike on this little loop that I'm going to show you. You can see how densely wooded this loop is. Okay. So somebody could have been in the bushes looking for her. This is her, yeah, this is it. Charlotte Sena is her name. Thank you so much, Rick. I really appreciate you guys getting the word out there. I feel like we can have a positive outcome. And yeah, prayers help. And dash cam footage helps. She could have been grabbed from behind. Yeah, exactly. It could have been. They think it was an abduction, Chris. They think it was an abduction. They think she was abducted. That's what they're thinking. So that's what they think. They think that she was abducted. I am doing a members channel live stream. Obviously, that's might be a little bit late tonight, in just in lieu of this, because it's really important. Then we get the word out about this. We need all hands on deck. We need to find her. Jan says that does not mean anything unless he planned. Yeah. Well, we know that's why the first 48 hours are so critical, right? Because we know why these guys pounce the way that they do. We know why these guys pounce. So where is this campground? Okay, so the campground, that's a great question, Mama Mia. The campground is located outside of the Saratoga area in upstate New York, 45 minutes away from Albany. And it's in upstate New York, very close to the western Massachusetts and southern eastern border of Vermont. I'm not really worried about that too much. How long had they been staying at the campground? We don't know. We don't know. I don't think so, because I think that if that had happened, law enforcement would have, checked hospitals. If hospitals had a child just come in, unless, so I don't think that's what happened. And the fact that her bike was found without her and without the helmet is a big concern. It's a big concern. You're right, Jan. All right, so let's look at this campground. Have they found the bicycle? Yes. Okay, so for those of you that are just joining me, let me just back up for a second. So this is Charlotte Sena. She is in 4th grade. She has just turned 9 years old, just entered 4th grade. She serves on her student council. She was so proud. She just got elected, so she's a natural born leader. She disappeared from Moreau Lake State Park in upstate New York, in the Saratoga area of New York. She went for a bike ride with her mom, Trisha, and her dad, David, and her sisters. She asked her parents' permission to do one more loop by herself on her bike. Her parents said yes. When she didn't return after 15 minutes, her parents immediately went out looking for her. They enlisted other campers who also went looking for her. When they found her bike without her on it, without her bike helmet near the bike, when they found her bike, they immediately called 911. So I don't think she would have been, that would have been a vehicle accident. I just don't think so. I just don't think so. I think taken quickly. People have talked about bears. Again, they're not that aggressive in the area. And I just think that they might, that with the fact that they've had scent dogs out there looking for her, drones, it is heavily wooded. Let me just show you. This is what she looks like now. Okay, 9 years old, blonde, 5'1", 90 pounds. This is the shirt she was wearing. I just showed you the full length. This is her hair color. Here's another picture of her. And this is the campground at the Moreau State Park. Okay, so this is Moreau Lake. If you are looking at this map with me, you will see just below Moreau State Park, you will see these little, looks like little amoebas with little circles around them. Those little circles are all little campsites. And each one of those circles is called the loop. Okay. She was in the bottom below Moreau Lake in the very first loop, the loop closest to me. And if you're looking at your screen, she was in the far left bottom loop. That was loop A. She was last seen on loop A on her bicycle, going with her gray bike helmet on. And you can see how densely wooded the loop is. So, was someone waiting in the bushes for her? And did somebody take an opportunity and pounce? She was last seen at 7 p.m. in the loop. Hi, Jody. So she was last seen at 7 p.m. She was last seen. My understanding, I've heard 6 p.m. 6:15 p.m. I've heard 7 p.m. But she was reported missing at 7 p.m. She was reported missing. She was last seen. Let me correct myself. 6:15 p.m. Saturday from this loop at the Moreau State Park. And she was immediately, when she didn't come back from that little bike ride, just making that little loop-de-loop around, when she didn't come back after 15 minutes, her parents immediately started looking for her. And they probably did think she just maybe fell off her bike. Other campers also helped look for her. And when they found the bike, and we don't know if they found the bike on the road or if it was in the bushes, but when they found the bike and they did not find Charlotte, they immediately called 911. And this is an Amber Alert situation, which means to get qualify for an Amber Alert, that means law enforcement has to believe that this child is in danger, that this is a critical missing situation. Lisa says that I'm from here. I can't believe this is happening. My daughter and grandson live 5 minutes away. Well, if you can share this information, somebody has this information. Phil says most definitely it would have been more than one abductor, even a couple of a male or duo. Yeah, I'm wondering. No, that's okay. You just said 7 p.m. It was me that misspoke, Amelia, not you. So 7 p.m. was when she was called in to 911, but her parents last saw her at 9:15 p.m. Details have been amended. She's 4 feet 6 inches tall. Thanks for that, Grass Monster. I appreciate that. They also charge an entry fee per car. Our state parks take down your driver's license information, plate details. They do not take details at the ranger station. So I am sure that law enforcement, that's so helpful to know that. I am confident that law enforcement is looking through all of the driver's license to see if anybody has a history of doing that. But it doesn't mean somebody couldn't have walked into the park or biked into the park. So that's why the dash cam footage, doorbell footage, photographs, videos of any campers or people that were in the park that day could all help law enforcement find Charlotte. It's just 15 minutes from where they are from. So it could have been someone, just like in the Cleo Smith case. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me just show you. This case ended with a very positive outcome. This is Cleo. She also went missing from a campground. I'm going to go back to Charlotte in just a second. But this is Cleo. She went missing in Australia. She was taken from her own tent, from inside her tent where her mom and stepdad were camping. And it turns out that it was somebody that had become fixated on her. He had some mental health issues. But they got the word out really fast, just like they did with Charlotte today. And so with Cleo, they did have a positive outcome. They did a phone dump. They immediately started looking for her. They didn't waste any time, and she was found safe and sound. And somebody that was just, had some mental health issues had become fixated on her. She was just 4 years old. She went missing, and she was gone for 18 days. But law enforcement did not miss a beat. They were doing phone dumps and doing everything that they could do to find her. So let's get
also
back to
joined
Charlotte.
the search. So
This is Charlotte.
we need your help to find missing Charlotte Sena. She is a 9-year-old child. She was camping with her family in upstate New York in the Saratoga area. Now, Charlotte went for a bike ride, but never returned back to her campsite. When she didn't return, around 15 minutes later, her parents and nearby campers began searching for Charlotte. Her bike was found on the loop at 6:45 p.m. and 2 minutes later, her mom called 911 and reported her disappearance.
Okay, so you can see the loop that I'm talking about. If you look at the Moreau Lake, okay, so this is Moreau State Park in the Saratoga area in upstate New York in the United States. This is Moreau Lake that they were camping there. That you could see the little campsites. If you look down, you'll see the word camping in the center at the bottom of the screen, and then you see these looks like little amoebas with little suckers sticking off. That's actually the loops, and you'll see loop A is the very first loop, the one closest to me at the bottom of the screen. Loop B is next. Loop C is just a little bit above that. Loop D is right next to it. Loop E, and then loop F, and then loop G. So loop F and G are right next to each other all the way far. But the loop closest to me in the bottom, if you're looking at your screen, facing your screen, in the bottom of your screen, right here, if you're right here, that is the loop. So she was just returning from a bike ride with her parents and disappeared from that loop. So was it a camper that took an opportunity to grab her, or was this someone who became fixated on her in social media, was lying in wait and snuck in to the park and got her? Let's continue on. I'm going to just play this all the way through. So for those of you that are just joining us, you can be caught up. Her name is Charlotte, and she is just 9 years old. And there is an Amber Alert. Amber Alert means that law enforcement, they do believe she's been abducted, and they believe she's in imminent danger.
Reporter room investigators, we need your help to find missing Charlotte Sena. She is a 9-year-old child. She was camping with her family in upstate New York in the Saratoga area. Now, Charlotte went for a bike ride, but never returned back to her campsite. When she didn't return, around 15 minutes later, her parents and nearby campers began searching for Charlotte. Her bike was found on the loop at 6:45 p.m. and 2 minutes later, her mom called 911 and reported her disappearance.
Okay, so that's the loop that I just showed you, and her bike was found. Her helmet was not found. Her bike was found. Her helmet was not found. And she is a critical missing. There's an Amber Alert. They believe she was abducted.
Called 911 and reported her disappearance. State police arrived around 15 minutes later at 7 p.m. Since then, over 175 personnel and law enforcement officials have been deployed to search for this fourth grader. Drones, dogs, 2 boats, and 6 underwater rescue teams also joined the search. So she is believed to have been abducted from the Moreau State Park in New York. Charlotte was last seen, as I said, around 6:15 p.m. on Saturday. Police said that she was last seen wearing an orange tie-dye Pokemon shirt, dark blue pants, black Crocs, and she was wearing a gray bicycle helmet. She was last seen on Loop A at around 6:15 p.m. on Saturday. She is described as being white with blonde hair, 5'1", and weighing approximately 90 pounds. So she went missing, and the circumstances around Charlotte's disappearance are leading law enforcement to believe that she is in imminent danger of serious harm. This is according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So police received that phone call at 6:45 p.m. from her mom and dad. Her bike was found shortly thereafter. She has been described as highly intelligent, adventurous, and that
going missing is completely out of character. Let me just back up here.
Adventurous.
This is exactly what she was wearing, guys. This is her at the campground. I would assume this was taken earlier that day. You can see it. The Pokemon shirt is being described as orange tie-dye. I think it reads a little bit pink. So it could just be the lighting on the camera, but it could also be that the shirt just reads a little bit pink. It could be just, a little bit faded out, but you could see that the Pokemon, you could see Pikachu. I don't know the name of the other one. Blue jeans, they say blue pants, black Crocs, and her helmet was not found with the bike. Let's continue on, guys. And that going missing is completely out of character for her. And this is according to the state police in New York. So the New York State Police have activated an Amber Alert in the case, and this went into effect on Sunday morning around 9:30 a.m. New York time, noting that it was for, quote, a child abduction that occurred around 6:45 p.m. the night before. An Amber Alert, which stands for America's Missing, this is a broadcast emergency response, and it is issued only when a child is missing or abducted and the police are concerned for the life, health, or well-being of that child because they believe her to be in imminent danger. Lieutenant Colonel Richard Mazzone told reporters on Sunday that law enforcement determined it was, quote, quite possible that Charlotte had been abducted following their exhaustive search of this park. And they said, quote, we just want her returned safely like any parent would. No tip is too small. Please call if you know anything at all. The New York governor also told reporters that Charlotte and her family were camping only 15 minutes from where the girl and her sisters grew up. Shortly before she went missing, she had been biking on Loop A around the park, and she wanted to do one more loop by herself. But 15 minutes later, when she didn't return back, as I shared with you earlier, her parents and nearby campers immediately began searching for her. They were calling her name. So her bike was found at the loop. So far, drones have been used, divers have been used, search dogs have been deployed, and a helicopter was spotted over the park early Sunday afternoon. Charlotte Sena's mom, her name is Trisha, has reached out and said she is, quote, a good kid who is, quote, trusting. And she says, I just want my daughter back. And she said this in anguish. So anyone with information, please call state troopers at 518-457-6811, or you can send an email to crimetip@troopers.newyork.gov. We'll continue to up. So that is what she was wearing. I mean, we're so lucky that we have this photo. This is her, I believe, at the end of third grade. They're side by side because you can see that her hair was darker. They may have changed her hair color by now. Phil says, poor little baby, this is heartbreaking. Prayers for Charlotte and her family. Jody says, very heartbreaking. It is. And hopefully we will have a good outcome by getting the word out quickly. And law enforcement has emptied that park. But boy, you could just see how densely wooded it is. This is the loop. Okay, so that's how wooded it is. That's the loop. You could see that somebody could have just been lying in wait, hiding in between a couple of vehicles, or maybe in the bushes. It could have been a camper. It could have just been somebody that walked into the park. It could have been somebody that drove into the park. And if you're looking at the map, the loop is you'll see these like little circles below Moreau Lake. And the very circle that is closest to me at the bottom of the screen, but closest to me, that is Loop A. And that she was allowed to take one lap on her bike by herself before she disappeared. So we definitely need all hands on deck to find her. We have just passed the 24-hour mark of when she was reported missing. She was last seen at 6:15 p.m. She was reported missing around 7 p.m. Her parents immediately began searching for her when she didn't come back from her bike ride, probably around 6:30. And they had other campers helping them look when they found the bike. But Charlotte wasn't on there. They called 911. They called 911. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Please help get the word out. I know that by working together as a true crime community, that we can find Charlotte safe and sound. I have so much faith. We're getting the word out fast. And for those of you that are looking for my Brian Kohlberger live, this preempted it because finding a little 9-year-old girl takes priority over everything else. And law enforcement is asking for our help. So yeah, let's help law enforcement bring her home safely. Thank you so much to our head mod, Amelia, to all of our mods, our channel members, and our subscribers, and to all of you who watch. So, okay, Ellen, this is really good. Let me read this out. Loop A runs along the main road. Loop A can be seen from the road, and the woods are thin. Short 4-foot fence separates the two. All right, let me back this up a little bit. So you're saying a 4-foot fence separates the road and the woods. So that would have been really easy for a grown man to hop over, I think. Let's back it up. So there's the loop right there in the bottom screen, loop A. All right, well, I really feel hopeful. You guys have been so helpful on finding her. I really do appreciate it. Below, I have the contact information, and I will see you guys next time. Please help get the word out because together we can bring Charlotte home safe. Prayers help too.